This podcast contains explicit content.
This is Hardly Focused. Part of the Solid Listen Podcast Network.
Let's begin the show by starting it.
In a moment, we'll look at the courageous Korean gymnast, Kim Hwan, who made a perfect dismount on what was later revealed to be a broken leg. Ouch!
Hi, everybody. We are Hardly Focused. Jack Gill, Mike Gerard. You can find us at hardlyfocused.com. We are on your favorite podcast app. We're on YouTube. Just search for Hardly Focused. It's our 650th episode. Almost 200 episodes ago, Mike, we were recording the first episode of this podcast under the name Hardly Focused.
What?
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
Way back in the year 2020. A year we'd all like to forget.
Yeah, that was like a year. That was like last year, right?
Yeah. Last year. It's been a long week. It's been
time is very relative about 2020.
Yeah, this year has been a long week. Two things quickly. First, buy us a coffee, please. Keep us caffeinated and energized as we record new episodes of Hardly Focused. You can go to hardlyfocused.com/coffee. Mike, that's a thing.
Oh, I did not realize.
It's a real thing. Second, support Hardly Focused and buy a t-shirt at hardlyfocused.com/store.
Mm-mm.
Maybe at some point I'll add some new t-shirt designs to the store.
What?
Mike, are you watching the Olympics?
Not as much as Sarah is.
Okay.
Nick was like, I want to watch this, and Sarah's like, no, we're watching the Olympics. But I want to watch. This happens once every 4 years. We're watching the Olympics.
So she doesn't care about the Winter Olympics 2 years from now?
I mean, she watches. I mean, yeah, kind of, but like she's all about like gymnastics, track, like the big Summer Olympic stuff, like the big like swimming. Katie Ledecky, like that. She's got a list. She's like, okay, on August 7th, I got to watch this. August 1st, it's that. Okay, all right, and then okay, all right. And then, she's like got it all set up.
Okay, I wish Becky was here because Becky is very heavily invested in the gymnastics. She's very happy that a gold medal was won today, the 30th of July.
Spoilers.
And don't you know, the city of Worcester, from where we hail, the Olympics featuring someone from Worcester.
$25.
Steven Nadorsic, a.k.a. the pommel horse guy.
Which is hilarious.
Because that's what he's known for. He's known for the pommel horse, and he's also known for being really good with the Rubik's Cube.
He looks like he would be really good with the Rubik's Cube.
Are you good with a Rubik's Cube?
I'm really good at cheating with the Rubik's Cube.
Like what, peeling the stickers off and pasting them in other spots?
Literally getting to the corner and popping the corner off so you can take all the tiles off individually and then reassembling them.
Yeah, Becky is heavily into the Rubik's Cubes now.
My nephew is really into Rubik's Cubes for a while. He got like all the way up to like the 8 or the 10 by 10.
See, I'm so dumb. I was only aware of the 9 by. Is it the 9 by 9? Is that the standard one?
It's the 3 by 3.
The 3 by 3. Yeah, sure.
Nine square facings. Yes.
Yeah.
On each side. Yeah.
Didn't realize they have less than that. That they have more than that. I can't do the original. There was a time, I want to say, in the 90s where, well, here's my first question. Let me back up a little bit because I also think that the 90s were just 10 years ago. But when was the Rubik's Cube invented?
80. I'm going to say 81.
Okay. Because in the 90s,
guessing.
The 90s, I feel, were big for both Rubik's Cubes and lava lamps. And I recall when I was little getting a Rubik's Cube.
May 19th, 1974, according to Google.
Oh, wow. You were way off.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, just a smidge.
Hey, at least I wasn't in the 90s.
I stopped myself. I didn't want to, you know how I am with my historical facts. I was taking it easy. I was playing it simple, but got the Rubik's Cube. had no idea how to solve it. And then I feel like when I was an adult, picked it up and I solved it in one sitting. And that was it. And I'm like, all right, I'm smart. I'm smart now. I did it. I completed it. And I didn't pop the corners off as much as I wanted to.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to think outside of the box.
No, what I did is I tried to peel the stickers off and place them in different places and found out, no, those guys are smart. They really stick those things on there. And if you look at my Rubik's Cube, you can see the one block where I tried to pull the sticker off and gave up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be remiss if I did not shout out Nate Fillers, who is one of our co-hosts. He's getting married this weekend.
Oh.
So congratulations to him. He's going to North Carolina for that. Or
North Kakalaka. All right.
Or South Kakalaka. One of them. One of the various Carolinas. We have so many in the Union. Mike, busy week. Lots to talk about in this episode of Hardly Focused. You
sent some stuff and I'm like, and don't forget this and this and this. And you're like, oh my God. Nothing's happening in the world right now.
No. Let me shout out first the concert venue Great Scott. I'm even wearing my Great Scott shirt today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a ultra townie today because I also got my Boston Sicko sign hat on. But Great Scott, a concert venue, a very good concert venue that closed back in 2020 because of the pandemic, as many things closed during the pandemic. And at the time, lose Great Scott really sucked. And very soon after they closed, a big campaign began to get the venue reopened, either in the same spot on Commonwealth Ave in Alston or somewhere else in the city. Even these Great Scott shirts, like the one I'm wearing, were sold, proceeds going towards that fundraiser. For a long time, the venue, they were talking about moving to the former Pizzeria Regina location. If you're driving down the Mass Pike in Boston as you're approaching the city proper, you would pass it because it used to be an old train depot. What did it used to be called? Like when we were working at the radio station before.
That was the Pizzeria Regina.
It was something else, though, wasn't it?
Nah, it was always Pizzeria Regina when we were there.
Okay.
Yep.
It's something else now. Something has since moved into that space. So Great Scott did not go there, but it was announced today, the 30th of July, that Great Scott will be coming back. They will be at 1 Harvard Avenue on the corner of Cambridge Street, still in Alston. About 2 blocks from where they used to be. Where they used to be on Com Ave, by the way, is now a Taco Bell cantina.
Ah.
So if you're into getting smashed while giving yourself food poisoning, go to the
food poisoning.
Go to the Taco Bell cantina. It's 1222 Com Ave in Alston. 1222.
Was that a Rush album?
It's one of the lesser known Rush albums. It was an EP, actually.
The B-sides.
Only 1,222 copies were made and given out to fans at a secret club show before they played in Ottawa in 1978. The new venue, it's going to share space with O'Brien's Pub. And according to Boston.com, it will maintain its, quote, charming dive bar vibes through a mix of hardcore punk shows, queer dance parties, and artist residencies. Now, Mike, have you been to Great Scott before? The original Great Scott?
Maybe. I don't remember. It's all a blur.
Blur, a band that did not play at Great Scott, by the way.
Zing.
However, bands that performed at the original Great Scott that have since taken off include the Wombats, MGMT, Jack Harlow, Phoebe Bridgers, and Charlie Bliss. Mike, have you seen The Incredibles, the Pixar film?
Which one?
The first one.
Yes.
The voice actor who played Dash in the first Incredibles is now the guitarist for Charlie Bliss.
Oh.
Who now are doing quite well for themselves. So, yeah, Great Scott, great venue. Very small venue. It's the new one's a 300 cap venue, plus the additional 75 that O'Brien's next door will be able to hold. And I think it was Vanyaland.com or someone in that nature put it perfectly. Great Scott, very likely the home of the best show you've ever seen. And it's true, because 2 of my favorite concerts ever happened at Great Scott. So that place means a lot to me, and I'm very happy that it is coming back. I'm happy that in the city of Boston, in general, so many very good music venues have opened since the pandemic. Well, I don't think that the pandemic would have gone in and wiped everything out, and quite the opposite has happened. We got Roadrunner down the street from the new Great Scott. That's in Brighton, literally next door to where Mike and I worked at the radio station. That whole area has been redeveloped. And Roadrunner, I think, probably one of my most favorite venues ever. We've got the MGM at Fenway for bands that aren't big enough to play Fenway itself.
It's Fenway adjacent.
Fenway adjacent, yeah. It's like one step above the House of Blues, but one below, say, the TD Garden. Horribly designed venue for getting in and out of, but the inside isn't
that
bad.
Entire area is horrible for getting in and out.
I saw Blink-182 at Fenway last week, and boy, did I underestimate that, having gone to several concerts that have happened both like in tandem at the House of Blues in Fenway, and then going to Red Sox games as well. And Blink-182 was just a madhouse and a half. So that was fun and an experience that I'm not willing to repeat anytime soon. At least I did not come outside to oxygen tanks and balloons everywhere. Like when Fish was playing at Fenway years ago. Chill crowd, though, I must say. So that's very exciting. Very exciting news for Boston to have a, let's say, classic venue come back, and hopefully they do well. The previous iteration of Great Scott, the location was on a month-to-month lease, and I guess there were beyond the pandemic issues with the lease that resulted in the venue closing, and now the owners of the new Great Scott own the property outright.
That makes a difference right there.
Yeah, so so long as the bands want to play there, I have a feeling this new Great Scott will be around for a while. And it's not it's a great place for local bands. Obviously, Boston has a very, very big local music scene, but if there's side projects of bigger bands or members that go solo, Great Scott is usually where they will play. And it's one of those venues where you can just walk up to them and shoot the shit with them when they're not playing. That's how small the place is. That's a good dive bar right there. So we got that, and then we also have this.
I don't watch the news.
Hardly Focused
Presents
Argle bargle or foofara.
this weekend, well, everything.
Oh my god, I'm missing the news!
We all miss the news, but Huey Lewis needs time to create.
Like I said, so much happening over the past week. Mike, we can either talk about something that you pointed in my direction that I was unfamiliar with, and that being the Last Supper fiasco at the Olympics during the opening ceremony last week.
Yep.
We've also got Green Day pissing off the right because they have apparently never listened to Green Day before.
It's like when they complain about Rage Against the Machine.
Right? So, since when were they into politics? We got the 1975 getting sued by a festival out in Malaysia that they played last year because they broke some country laws. Laws that
How rock and roll is that, huh?
laws that thankfully do not exist in the United States and hopefully never will. Or we can chat about Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We can save that for last if we got time.
Okay, very good. What sounds good to you, Mike? What do you want to jump into first?
What was the first thing you mentioned?
The Last Supper.
Oh, the first is the last. All right.
At the opening ceremony for the Olympics, DJ Barbara Butch performed alongside dancers and drag artists. This, by the way, coming from Yahoo News via Euronews.com. Butch performing alongside dancers and drag artists in a tableau called Festivity. French for festivity.
I knew it was going to be perfect coming from you.
The sequence being a parody of Leonardo DiCaprio's Last Supper. I mean, Leonardo da Vinci. But The Last Supper obviously carrying a lot of religious connotations, if you will.
What? Really? Last Supper? Nah.
And according to Butch, she has been the subject of a, quote, campaign of cyber harassment and defamation and unprecedented violence because of her performance, because of the portrayal of the parody, rather, of the Last Supper.
Which is how very Christian of them.
Yeah. The sounds like the cyber police are being called, which, if you remember, was founded by this guy.
You done goofed.
Going way back in the archives. Audrey Mistalti. I'm just going to 100% pronounce all of these names correctly. That's DJ Butch's lawyer. She said that her client was facing threats of, quote, death, torture, and rape, as well as numerous anti-Semitic, homophobic, sexist, and fat-phobic insults.
The whole gamut.
Yeah, they didn't hold back. They really didn't hold back. People have complained. The French Bishops' Conference, the Anglican Communion of Egypt, Andrew Tate, that guy, and his brother, Elon Musk, the former real estate guy, and 34-time convicted felon, and Rob Schneider. So all reputable sources. All people whose opinion you would trust.
Oh, yeah.
And according to the ceremony's artistic director, Thomas Jolly, the sequence was a great pagan festival linked to the gods of Olympus, but a spokesman for Paris 2024 has since issued an apology to any religious groups offended by the sequence.
I believe that apology should read, I am sorry that you're offended.
They straight up.
That's the only apology that should come out of their mouths. I'm sorry that you're offended. That is it.
They actually said the words, quote, we are really sorry. Like typically in, PR speak, they'll say what? We apologize.
Yep.
We offer our sincerest apologies. No, this time they just were straight up. We're really sorry.
We're really sorry. It will never happen again.
Did you watch this as it happened?
I did. And I was like, oh, it's kind of odd, whatever. Avant-garde, kind of like weird, but okay, whatever. I'm cool with it. I kind of saw the little bit of the yes, it does evoke the Last Supper, but the fact that the guy's like, yeah, but I brought the ancient Greek Olympia idea forward, and you're like, oh, ancient Greek Olympics. Yeah, that could have been the origin, just like all the other pagan stuff that the Christians took and co-opted. Shocker.
Yeah, it seems like the people who are really upset about this, not educated enough to know anything about that, anything about Greek history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, Harrison Butker had to make a comment. I'm like, hey, how about you just stick to kicking footballs, all right, buddy?
What did Sarah think of the opening ceremony?
She thought it was okay. I think I don't know if she liked the fact that it was like the boats were there and people weren't just marching, but she didn't like the fact that it wasn't like this big ceremony. I mean, granted, it's probably because it wasn't a communist country where they drilled for 4 years straight to get the opening ceremony perfect. It was a bit more just, loosey goosey, a little more laid back, laissez faire.
Get it? Because it's in France.
Right? Oh, baguette. Oh, all right. But yeah, I mean, it was, I think maybe the rain kind of, put a damper on things as well. But it is what it is.
Now, part of the reason I'm wearing my Boston hat is because Boston was at one point considered to be the home of the 2024 Olympics.
Yeah, and Boston's like, it's expensive, and we don't want to deal with this bullshit, so maybe not.
Yeah, Boston, the fine people in charge of the great city of Boston, the Commonwealth, Massachusetts, saying, yeah, this city has enough problems of its own when it comes to infrastructure, traffic, congestion. To have the Olympics here would just shut the whole city down in ways we haven't seen since 2013 after the Boston Marathon. So no, we are not having the Olympics here, but like we could have. We absolutely could have.
Yeah, it would have been interesting.
Now, do you think they would have left everything standing and decaying after the games were complete, like how they did in was it South America?
I feel like in America, because we're going to see this again in Utah because they just got the okay for the Winter Olympics in 2032, I believe.
Okay.
That at least in America, it's like, okay, we know it's going to be a lot of money. We need to make sure we use what we have available already and only make what we need to and make sure it is reusable after the fact. Because, I mean, they look at Rio and they're like, you guys spent how many billions of dollars and it's all just fucking falling apart immediately afterwards. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I feel like that they would try their best to make sure that we're only going to spend, no more than $5 billion on infrastructure and all this stuff, and make sure what we need to have is going to be reusable.
Do you know, is there a limit on how much time has to pass before a city can host the Olympics again?
I do not know off the top of my head.
Assuming that in 2032 we're going back to Salt Lake City. Because that was 2002?
Let's see.
I know Sydney was 2000 for the Summer Olympics out there.
I don't know if there's actually a quote unquote rule on that. So I don't know.
But they're obviously like almost a decade out in terms of planning.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference right there. Let me see I want to dive into the host cities here and see what we got. Because I feel like, let's see, what do we got?
And we got Los Angeles coming up too, which
it's interesting because I'm throwing through and they've got the country flags and you're going through and you see 1936 Germany. You're like, oh, that's a Nazi flag right there.
Oh, Jesus. Now I'm curious where if they had held the Olympics in Boston, like what would they, assuming we'd be doing Boston proper and not somewhere outside the city and claiming it's Boston. I'd be curious to know like where they would have considered like BU or like the Harvard Athletic Complex.
I feel like, I mean, yeah, that, and then, I mean, you've got all the colleges there, but you've also got like, I feel like if you're doing Boston, you could go all the way down to Providence, like especially like the water sports. You'd have to go beyond. I mean, it's France, and you have to use Tahiti for the surfing competition. So it's obvious that they can't do everything just just in the host city.
Yeah,
which I think is funny, but like, you can't it's not like you're going to go on the English Channel and do a surfing competition. I mean, you could, but you'd be an asshole for doing it. Hey guys, do you have your winter Speedos on?
I can imagine if they were to go.
It's a new Seinfeld episode. Shrinkage. It was cold, Jerry. It was cold.
I can imagine if they wanted to do something like curling, they're doing it at like the Dunk in downtown Providence.
Yeah.
Or P-Pack. Yeah, that's fascinating. I'm actually like, I don't, to typically follow the Olympics too closely when it happens, and I didn't realize that they were going outside of Paris for select events.
Yeah, just because I think the location wise, Beijing had 2008 and 2022.
Okay.
But that is, you've had the United States, Atlanta, and then Salt Lake City, Calgary, and Montreal. But it hasn't really been like back-to-back cities, if you will. There's been at least a 20-year gap almost.
Okay. Have you heard Snoop Dogg commentating?
Yeah, I have heard of Snoop Dogg. No, yes, I have seen him, and he's just everywhere, just relaxing, enjoying life. He's the unofficial spokesperson of the Olympics now.
I mean, he's like
for America.
He's like the spokesman of everything at this point, because like, look at all the partnerships he has. Everything he's been doing with like Martha Stewart, for example. Here he is commenting on badminton. This was posted by NBC Sports. You can find it on their Instagram page.
Oh, I love this badminton right here. This is a great rally right here between China and the U.S. right here. As you see, it don't stop to the casket drop. They rocking and rolling, back and forth. Give me that. No, I need that. No, over here. No, over there. What about over there? No, what about there? No, give me that. I need that. That too. No, sit down somewhere. Get down. Wait a minute. Hold it. Way up in the sky. Now down. Back up. Over there. Now over here. Get out the way. Move. I told you we need that.
That was a good point.
I'm not sure I could listen to hours of that, but at least in small doses, it's amazing.
It sounds like he's recording lines for a video game, like an open world video game, where he's going through the part of the script where they tell him like, all right, these are the sounds that you got to make when you're in combat, when you're when you're dodging bullets.
Yeah. It sounds kind of right there.
Who'd have thunk that Snoop Dogg, of all the great like early 90s West Coast rappers, would be like this? Because like some of them, like Ice Cube, for example, very family friendly now. But Snoop just like, it's like he's doing the same thing he was doing in 1992, but he's managed to market it to the masses because it's okay now. Maybe not the murder part, but the weed.
Mostly everything else part.
Yeah. The drugs, for example.
I've never done a radio interview before, but I just see it like talking to some old friends. Excuse me.
Hardly focused.
It's almost politically incorrect.
You are listening to Hardly Focused.
I was also told not to make any comments about appearance, so besides what I just said, that will be it.
You're moving on, Jack. You know, in the future, you won't actually need to say that. It'll just be understood. But good effort.
How do you feel about Gojira performing at the opening ceremony?
I feel like we've got to step up in America. We need to get some, heavy metal, going back in here. I guess the question is, is Norway hosting a Winter Olympics soon? Because it's Norwegian black metal.
Oh my God! I want to talk about normalizing things.
2024 Paris, Italy, LA, France for the Winter Olympics, then Australia, then the U.S. and Salt Lake City. Okay, nope. All right, dang it.
Damn.
All right. I was hoping to see that right there, just like Norway, like let's do this, and just have just guys just in black and white face, all black and just long hairs. This is the Olympics.
Yeah, Gojira being introduced to the masses by performing at the opening ceremony. I know they were getting a lot of praise from obviously the metal community and in the general music community, but I don't know if other audiences were upset that a metal band would be performing.
The same people that are upset about The Last Supper are the same people that are upset about metal bands, so they can go fuck themselves.
I mean, the same people upset about The Last Supper are also upset about Green Day, which we'll get to in a moment.
Oh.
But yeah, the Olympics, it's really cool to see the local representation, and even more so that the kid from Worcester is like the geekiest geek you've ever seen.
Oh my God, I saw that and I was like, oh, is he a trainer? And Sarah goes, no, he's actually a gymnast. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's about to win a gold medal for his team.
Yep. And you're like, oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Or a team medal, rather. I'm not actually sure if they won the gold, but they won a medal. They won their first, I think, since 2008.
Yeah, it's funny because like the guys, men's gymnastics is like, okay, we're good, we try, and the U.S. women's gymnastics is like, oh, ever since the Cold Wall fell, we dominate.
We played a clip of it at the very beginning of the episode, but the Simpsons making fun of the 1984 Olympics, and in real life, McDonald's having their disastrous promotion where free food if the U.S. wins, like any medal.
Oh yes, and then that was the same year that the Russians they basically boycotted it.
Yeah. So all the medals were won.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of Big Macs for people.
Whoopsie.
Such promotions don't happen anymore.
No siree, Bob.
I think the closest would be, I guess, if every Major League Baseball team protested against playing the Boston Red Sox, but just enough not to have to like forfeit the games. Like they just show up and they put no effort into it. So the Red Sox sweep every game. That means kids will be eating a lot of free meals at the 99.
Anybody outside of the 99 area would be like, what are they talking about?
Anyone inside of the 99 area, though, is like, yeah, that's some good popcorn. Okay, so
kids, you hungry? Good. I don't want to pay for your food.
For the unaware, the 99 prominent in, definitely Massachusetts. I don't know how far around New England.
Outside of New England, yeah.
Also, one of those restaurant chains that, like, with every passing year, you're surprised they still exist. But, yeah, like I said, good popcorn. I think they make their own brew there as well. And it's, like, it's okay. It's like Rolling Rock.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not good. It's kind of okay.
Becky and I were talking about that in the previous episode where Emma's Pub on the South Shore, their homemade brew is basically Rolling Rock. So I'm just going to assume that any restaurant, any pub, any brand that makes their own beer where they're not already a brewery or have like their own line of brews, like microbrews, whatever. Anything they make on their own, it's just Rolling Rock. It's just Rolling Rock under a different name. It's kind of like Wahlburgers with the Wahlbrewski. And it's just Harpoon. That's all it is.
We just slapped our own sticker on there.
All right. Green Day.
Yes.
A band that's been around for many, many, many years.
Like 20 years, right?
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. No, more.
Feels like yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. Just 20 years.
Just 20 years. Yeah, let's refuse to acknowledge that American Idiot came out 20 years ago. I remember getting that CD when it was brand new.
Wow. And now, depending on who's listening, they're like, what the fuck is a CD?
Right. Oh, it wasn't just a CD. It was a digipack.
Ooh.
In the cardboard like fold out case. But Green Day, yeah, no, almost 40 years old. But they're despite the band members, like
Shut the fuck up.
The band members of all these great bands now, they're all in their 50s, pushing 60, and they still sound good, man. Like Offspring's coming out with a new album.
Did he get his second PhD?
I mean, that's why they couldn't, or why we've had very sporadic releases from that band, because Dr. Dexter Holland was getting his PhD.
Yep.
And I appreciate that on the new Offspring album. I haven't heard any of the, I'm honestly not like a huge fan of The Offspring. I like The Offspring, but I'm not like, chomping at the bit when I see them putting new music out. But I do appreciate that on their new album, they have a track titled Come to Brazil. That's what every band has to endure when posting on social media. Some from South America saying, come to Brazil. When Stone Temple Pilots announced that Scott Weiland had passed away, someone from Brazil left a comment saying, come to Brazil. It's like, bro, read the room.
No, you got to say it, regardless of the room. Come to Brazil.
According to TicketNews.com, Green Day performed in Washington, D.C. on July 29th. During this set, pretty much every concert they've been playing over the last, I want to say 4 years, but this has to be going back to probably 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Joe Armstrong has been changing a lyric in the song American Idiot. The lyric, I'm not part of a redneck agenda. He sings it live as I'm not part of a MAGA agenda.
Aha.
So they're performing in D.C. During the show, someone in the crowd threw a Donald Trump mask on stage with the word idiot written on it.
Accurate.
Armstrong very gleefully holding it up to the crowd. Twitter's finest are outraged.
I appreciate you still calling it Twitter. Thank you. And I'm sure now that Twitter's owned by Muskie, this is going to be amazing.
Oh, he's already going in and going against his, I'm going to make this platform all about free speech.
Yeah.
He's banning accounts that are critical of the Republican agenda. An account.
Or critical of him because he's like a paper skinny, thin, fucking thin skinned asshole. That's what it is.
Yep.
Are my words around there?
An account, a movement called White Dudes for Harris. Their account was it was suspended for I don't think any more than 12 hours, but when it was reinstated, it was in a read-only mode for no rhyme or reason. The guy who's been the official White House photographer over the last, I'd say 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the most famous photos of the Obama administration taken by this guy. He posts a photo of the Home Alone 2 actor with his ear.
Yep.
He's got his ear in view, the one that was shot several weeks ago. And I'd say it's a very clear photo. And you look at the ear and you have to question, all right, where's this damage?
And I got to say, somebody said, as a trauma surgeon, based on the age of this person, not knowing who it is, the age of the person, the skin, and their condition, they won't heal like a 20-year-old ear. You're going to see something within a week or something like that.
Yeah.
So don't like oh well, they had really good surgeons. Like it doesn't matter. You can't speed up healing that much and have it that perfect.
Someone on Reddit sharing a picture of an injury they received on the top of their ear where cartilage was lost. And this injury was suffered, I want to say 3 months ago. It was not a recent injury. And it still looked somewhat fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, all the comments alluding to the shooting a few weeks ago, but that just kind of puts it into perspective. Like, okay, this is what an ear injury looks like. And I'm not discounting the fact that the man was shot. And I know for a period of time over the past week, now that the FBI testifying before a congressional committee, the Secret Service getting bent over and boned sideways, especially the new guy that's in charge. There was question at one point, okay, was it a bullet or was it shrapnel that hit his ear? Well, now
it was shrapnel because a bullet would have done more fucking damage. And if you don't believe me, you're fucking idiots. So go suck my fucking dick. Yeah. Suck it hard, suck it long now. Fucking MAGA idiots, yeah.
Well done. Loved it. That's going to be stuck in my head for a while.
I'll make sure I perform in Brazil.
Awesome. Well, yeah, nobody in Green Day shot because of this, but just the reactions they're getting to holding up this mask of Donald Trump. And even like, okay, yeah, it's a mask. It's like one of those things that you can buy at like a beachfront store, like, you know, the Nixon masks, for example. It's like a Halloween thing.
Yeah.
But I remember when Kathy Griffin held up the fake bloody Trump head and she got canceled.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, I guarantee you, they're trying to do the same thing to Billy Joe, Green Day as a whole. And obviously it's not going to work.
Well, when did Kathy Lee do that one?
Was that during his administration or was that after the 2020 election?
Because
obviously after the 2020 election, everything was very sensitive going into 2021 with just the state of the world.
Kathy Griffin Trump head was 2017.
Okay, so right after.
Right after. So there's a difference right there too. Like, this is during his administration, before everybody had a clear chance to realize how much of a dick he is. Like, oh yeah, people, the smart people didn't vote for him and were like, hey, we saw it in the writing on the wall already, guys. But all right, I can understand it was a little more outraged. Now it's like, this guy, like, no. You can fucking hold him in effigy all you want. You're not canceling anybody.
Twitter's finest outraged a Russian bot account at Hollers the 4345375.
Legit right there.
Oh yeah. See, when I pulled up his account, I have to do it. I don't have a Twitter account anymore. And Elon has locked everything down, so you can't just look at Twitter accounts without being logged into an account. So I pulled the account up, and everything is in Russian.
Of course it is.
And I'm like, oh, what a poorly disguised bot. And then I realized I had my language set to Belarus.
Those Belarusians.
But they're all bots. All these, unless they are, well, even the bots now are getting checkmarked. Like they're even paying for the verification.
Which, checkmark means absolutely shit now.
It does. Yeah. No, credibility out the window.
Yeah. Good job there, Elon, you fucking tool bag.
But this machine saying, yes, holding up a sign that says idiot because that's what the band and the fans are. Since when did punk rock talk about politics? Sing your songs and shut up either fucking way.
Because punk has been so establishment the entire time that they always take the side of the establishment. Yeah, fucking morons.
Well, it's funny you say that,
fucking
Mike,
morons.
because Tim Burchett, who's a representative from Tennessee and quite possibly one of the dumbest people alive, said on Twitter, quote, Green Day used to be anti-establishment. Now they are the establishment. And I promise you.
How?
I promise you that guy has never listened to Green Day.
Yeah, no.
He's never listened to a Green Day song in his life. Tim Burchett, that guy is a piece of garbage. You want to know why he's the dumbest person alive?
Why?
Because not only is he openly talking about how Kamala Harris was a DEI hire, but he also, I think it's easiest to say he just picked someone at random who was on site at the Kansas City Chiefs parade when that shooting happened earlier this year. Just picks a random dude and says, a random black guy, and says it was him. And it was, in fact, not him.
Shocker.
And rightly so, that man has since sued Burchett for defamation.
Oh, let's get that money rolling.
Meanwhile, a more stable section of the internet remembers Green Day's political stance with albums such as Dookie and American Idiot.
Yep.
I failed to mention Warning as well, which was very divisive, but also, it's sort of the...
Oh, yeah, that one too.
Yeah, sort of
I forgot about that.
It was the precursor to the not only American Idiot cycle, but then there was a solid decade where Green Day was just, it was not only very political, but everything was a rock opera too.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because they did a 21st Century Breakdown, and that was like, okay, like if you want to call it a sequel to American Idiot, like a follow-up to American Idiot, it's exactly what we expected, but at that point we were just craving classic Green Day, and then we received that a few years later with that trio of albums that they put out. So now they're kind of teetering back and forth between straightforward pop punk and carrying a message in their lyrics. But yeah, as you said earlier, the people upset about this, wait until they find out about Rage Against the Machine.
They just need to sit there and play their guitars. I was like, do you not remember music's always been about this? Like, this machine kills fascists, like, all the way since 55. Come on, man.
Now, I think it was the Guerrilla Radio music video.
Oh, about shutting down the New York Stock Exchange?
That was Testify. Guerrilla Radio, I think, has a giant Terminator-looking machine that appears at the end of the music video that's just sitting on the ruins of Los Angeles. And young me thought it was a tie-in for the Terminator and thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, Sleep Now in the Fire was...
Was it... Okay, it was Sleep Now in the Fire.
Yeah.
That shut down. Okay.
Yep.
That's all from the same album, though. That's all Battle of Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, but the scary part is, if you look at the actual video, and I don't know the exact second on the video, there is a very, very scary sign. And it says, see if I can find it quickly. Donald Trump for President 2000.
So, scary, yes. But he ran for president in 2000 and did not make it very far.
No, and it should have stayed that way.
But that was the genesis of the throwaway joke from The Simpsons.
Yep.
That then became viral after Trump was elected in 2016 because the episode came out shortly after the 2000 election, and it was a reference to just the thought of how ridiculous it would be if that man actually won and became president.
Yeah, look how fucked up things got.
Yeah, we all thought it was a joke. Then election night came around.
Yep. What are you talking about? He's the best president ever. Fucking idiots.
Mike, I don't want to get too far into the weeds here with this discussion, but are you like me where you just wake up every day in fear of what's going to happen in November?
I do. Sarah has basically said, I don't want to talk, Paul, at all about what's going on. I just want to keep my head down and not think about it because it panics her so much. And she's like, I don't want to even think about it. I'm like, all right, we won't talk about it because she's that worried about shit. And to the point where she's like, I don't want to move out of Massachusetts.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Other states are going to get fucked. I'm like, all right. Yep.
Stay within the small section of blue in this country.
Yeah. She's like, how hard would it be for New England to just like secede from the union at that point? I'm like, I don't know. There's actually an undercurrent of that.
Now, is there any hope with Kamala, now the presumptive nominee?
Yes, because basically she's like, if all of the argument was, hey, old man, and it's about that, Like, oh, now it's not an old man. And because JD Vance is the fucking vice presidential nominee. She's like, yeah, at least you can look and go like, hey, she may not be great as an option, but she's a fucking hell of a lot better than those two assholes. And it's a 1 minute and 4 seconds for that Donald Trump.
Okay.
On,
okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly don't know a lot about Harris, but I do know that, well, first I know how to pronounce her name.
Kamala, Kamahama.
Because you remember Sarah Palin couldn't even figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Kamala.
Kamala.
But I also, until like a week ago, I was not a fan. Obviously, a fan of who's on the Republican ticket, but I wasn't a fan of either contender, and that's including Brainworms McGee. They're all too old. RFK Jr. Have you heard the man talk?
Oh my God.
He's got like some condition that has resulted in his voice just sounding all sorts of messed up, but I would not be able to listen to a presidential address with that voice.
He's an anti-vaxxer, so he's automatically out of my list.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's minutia, Mike.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm more hopeful now that Kamala's in the running, but I also hopeful just seeing like how the polls are starting to respond to that. But I'm still scared. I'm still
yeah. She's just very worried about Project 2025.
Well, it might quell some of her concerns if she knows that the director of Project 2025 quit, because it sounds like he realized, hey, wait a minute, this is a really bad idea, and I want nothing to do with it.
A little too late there, buddy. You posted 900 pages of it.
Well, we'll see what happens, obviously, but
we went into the weeds a little bit.
We did, just a little bit. JD Vance is also a fucking idiot too.
Yeah.
That's neither here.
I don't care if he didn't actually fuck a couch. He fucked a couch.
Oh, he absolutely fucked a couch.
Absolutely. Just like Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer, JD Vance fucked a couch.
I think my favorite thing about Vance fucking a couch is that it just came out of nowhere. And we're just going with it. And it just took off. It just spread like wildfire. And that's fine. There's no origin to it. It's just there. Oh, man. What kind of couch? Do you think it was even like a couch of like good quality, or if it was like
it was a cheap ass, it's in my parents' basement kind of couch.
$50 futon from Walmart.
Yeah. And I love, is it AP? I think it might have been AP. That they basically had an article that said JD Vance did not fuck his couch, and they pulled the article because they said technically we can't write this because we can't verify that he did not actually fuck a couch. We can't prove a negative, so therefore we're rescinding the article that says he didn't.
Oh, I wish they threw a little like disclaimer in there, like it sounds plausible, however, we can't verify this.
Yeah, we cannot verify either way, so we're just gonna drop. Nope, not happening. All right. Yep. So in that case, he still fucked a couch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he would not be allowed in the country of Malaysia then.
Well, are you sure? It's just a couch.
I'm sure it falls under some arbitrary clause in Malaysia's ridiculous rules that they have set up in place.
Why? What's going on in Malaysia there, Jack?
The band in 1975, who fueled by the fire that is Taylor Swift, because Taylor was banging frontman Maddie Healy at one point. 1975 band I've always enjoyed, and it's I love to brag that I saw them at what is now the Strand in Providence, Rhode Island, a very small venue, and now they are selling out arenas wherever they go.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them before they were cool.
Yeah, okay there, buddy.
But they are being sued. And it all goes back to last year. They played at the Good Vibes Festival in Malaysia. Matty Healy, during their set, grabbed his bandmate, Ross McDonald, and he kissed him. He planted a big old wet one on him. And he did it in protest against the country's strict LGBTQ laws.
Mm-hmm.
So in response, the festival's license was revoked, and the final 2 days of the festival were just canceled. Like, that's all it took. It started off with a kiss. How did it end up canceled? How did it end up like that? It did. It resulted in the whole festival just being pulled. I remember getting the news alerts when that happened and just laughing maniacally because we never put it past old Matty Healy to do something like that. So the festival's organizers now suing the band for $2.4 million in damages, demanding financial compensation due to the festival's cancellation. So it turns out the band's performing at the Good Vibes Festival, and this all coming from Variety, were subject to very heavy government restrictions.
Slightly.
Restrictions imposed on kissing each other, kissing a member of the audience, or carrying out such actions among themselves. Bands performing at the festival also had restrictions on touching, swearing, removing clothing, smoking or drinking on stage, and discussing politics. Case in point.
So it's basically it's the Thanksgiving table.
Yeah, you're right.
I just want to have a civil dinner. Please do not bring this up with your uncle again.
Can I please just eat my potatoes? Oh my God. All right. So.
Yes.
Becky and I are driving down to a casino.
Go on.
We're driving down to a casino the other day with a family member. And that family member asks at one point, like the whole time we're driving, I'm just thinking to myself, how long before politics are brought up? How long before politics? And Becky and I are not one to engage in such discourse.
I'm just, I'm not gonna say it first. I'm not gonna say it first.
And there's some silence. We're literally just minutes away from the casino that we were going to. We're minutes away. And the family member asks, so what do you kids think about Harris? Oh boy, did I just want to throw up the emergency brake.
Where is the nearest tree on the side of the road?
I gritted my teeth. I bared it. And Becky was able to deflect that conversation. But of course, I didn't say anything to her ahead of time, but I was just thinking, I'm like, it's going to come up. It's going to come up. And there it is. It's like counting down the clock at Thanksgiving dinner, like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
The band Muse was performing at this festival, and they had to...
Did they get to perform?
They did, but they took a song out of their set. I'm not sure which song it was, but they had to cut one song because of, I would guess, political connotations.
Knights of Sidonia?
That could be it.
I'm really like Supermassive Black. No, that's not it. Like,
it's not. Madness. It's definitely not Madness.
No.
Blah 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 blah.
I mean, unless they said what it is, I'm not going to probably guess. So I don't know.
Oh, it was the track. We Are Fucking Fucked.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't anything political. It was the language. Guys, language.
Yeah,
Hey, Captain America.
That's from the 2022 album Will the People. They replaced it with Resistance from the album of the same name. By the way, a skunk just sprayed outside my house.
Yeah.
And the smell has wafted into the studio.
Ooh.
Oh boy, it's going to be a tough third act for this episode.
Breathe deep there, Jack. Breathe deep.
Like, the fucker did it right out in front of the house.
Well, because he did it on purpose. He knew.
I got a lot of rabbits out in the backyard, and
got a lot of rabbits.
Yeah, so I guarantee you, skunk saw a rabbit. Oh boy, this is gonna be pleasant, because this shit's like, oh man, like this happens.
It stings the nostrils.
It does. It's like acid. This happens at least once every summer.
Not the good acid.
Yeah, once every summer. There's just a really good, strong spray that happens out in front of the house, and it just wafts in here, and it is just absolute hell. And I know it's coming too, because I can't yet smell it, but the dog can.
And the dog knows.
He's not even in the room anymore. He left.
It's either that or you're going to have an earthquake in the next minute.
He knew when that earthquake happened a few months ago.
Yeah.
He started freaking out. He knew something was about to happen.
And was it a different freak out than what his normal freakouts were?
Yeah. It was very unusual. And
which is so nuts that they can sense something before it happens, and yet we don't have scientific instruments that can work that way.
Yeah. I'm sitting here telling him because like his breed, he growls at everything. He barks at everything.
Yeah.
So at this point, he's almost 8 years old. It's 8 years of cry wolf. It's 8 years of like, if he starts
I already
growling,
heard this. All right. It's not the first time.
Right.
I know.
If he starts, if he starts growling, if he starts barking, then it's dude, shut up. And then when something actually happens or he actually needs something.
I love you, but shut the fuck up.
Exactly. And then when something actually happens, then I feel bad because I'm like, oh, you were trying to tell me something. And all I had to do was listen, and I didn't do it. And
I'm trying to protect you.
That's exactly what he did. He was sitting on my lap. He jumped up on my lap and started growling and freaking out. And I'm like, dude, be quiet. Don't. Oh, shit. That was an earthquake. So I got that going on. So I got the dog noticing the skunk smell. And then the cats went to the vet for the first time.
Oh, really?
Last week, just for their first vet appointment, just to go to the vet, just to confirm my suspicions.
Say, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, get up to date on their vaccines and confirm my suspicions that they're fat. And something I didn't know that happens when you take cats to the vet, if you have multiple cats and one or both go to the vet, when they return home.
Yeah.
They turn on each other.
Oh, really?
If they were previously cool with each other, as Bill and Ted have been because they came from the same litter, they've always been cool with each other.
So, is it like they're blaming each other for the stress that was caused?
It's not even that. Cats, I guess, recognize everything by scent. So Bill had no idea who Ted was because Ted smelled like the vet's office and not like the cat that he's accustomed to. So for the first couple days after we went to the vet, they were just growling at each other, hissing, woke up in the middle of the night a couple times to them yelling at each other. Like it's just this inhuman sound. And now it seems like they're okay with each other. Now it seems like they recognize each other.
Meow, 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 meow.
It seems
meow, 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 meow.
It seems like the Cold War has thawed. We now have diplomatic relations once again.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I don't know why I sounded half like Kennedy right there, but okay.
Well, it's Clinton shaking hands with Yasser Arafat. It's that.
Oh yeah, that went so well.
Yeah, and my dog Cooper is Yitzhak Rabin. Facilitating it, only to be assassinated weeks later. Anyway.
Womp, womp.
1975, according to Consequence, they were apparently denied their slot on the lineup at the Good Vibes Festival in Malaysia due to Matty Healy's documented history with drug addiction. However, according to Consequence, the band's team appealed, and their appearance at the event was communicated to be contingent upon adherence to all local guidelines and regulations.
So close. So close.
And they have yet to file a defense, nor has the band commented on the lawsuit. $2.4 million, I think they can pay that back pretty easily.
Yeah? 1975's got that in their back pocket?
You know what? I think it just means they're going to go on tour next year.
Are they going to call it like the Malaysian tour?
Honestly, it will probably be some tongue-in-cheek reference to the lawsuit. And they will more than likely be very open about why they're touring, the lawsuit, why they got sued. They don't care. Even if there's like an anti-defamation clause in the, the terms of the settlement, Matty Healy don't care.
I doubt that there'll be a terms of settlement like that where you can't talk bad. They're like, fuck you, but then we're not going to go back to Malaysia. What are you going to do, enforce your law? Fuck out of here.
What is even in Malaysia? Is that where Kuala Lumpur is?
I believe so. It's also where a lot of fashion gets made, according to Zoolander.
Okay. I know their dictator is universally hated.
What are you talking about? He's universally loved. Please don't get us killed.
Look, all I know is that when I worked in customer support, a majority of our fraud, seeing the anti-fraud of things, majority of customer fraud, if it didn't come from Russia, it was coming from Malaysia.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, yeah, dude, your name's not Bob Anderson living in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah.
One of these things is not...
Forgot to change your address.
One of these things is not like the other, sir.
So your IP is pinging from the wrong part of the world.
Sir, you are not, in fact, a black woman.
Hello, my name is Janiqua.
Well, did you hear about that? That guy that, he did what... it's like the second case of someone forgetting to log into their burner account to pretend to be someone else.
Yes. Yep. I'm a black woman. I've always been a black woman. I'll never vote for, Kamala. And you're like, somebody forgot to turn your alt profile on there, buddy. Whoopsie. You are not a black woman there, buddy. You are a old white conservative.
Trying to find out who it was that did it because I'm blanking on the name, and unfortunately the wrong sorts of Google results are coming up.
Big black woman. Oh, save search. It's
a good thing I'm not on the company laptop.
IT wants to talk to you about something. Ooh.
You are listening to Hardly Focused.
Oh, you gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing.
This podcast is Hardly Focused.
We're a bunch of sorry sons of bitches.
Jane.
Sorry.
Hear more at hardlyfocused.com.
You crazy son of a bitch.
We are all sons of bitches.
This is the end.
Hardly Focused.
The end.
So, Deadpool and Wolverine came out this past weekend. It is the highest grossing R-rated film.
Oh, really?
And now, I don't remember if the second Deadpool was rated R.
I thought all of them were, except for the Deadpool Christmas special or whatever,
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think parents have figured it out now? Don't bring your kids to see Deadpool?
Probably not.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it.
I'd say a lot of adults are fucking dumb.
It's if you're into the, if you've been a fan of the Deadpool films, you're a fan of the comic book character, and then if you're a fan of anything having to do with Wolverine and Hugh Jackman, you're going to like Deadpool and Wolverine. At this juncture, it's a rare W in the post-Endgame Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, really?
Because think about it, a lot of the MCU films in the last 4 years, pretty much, have not been great.
That's kind of an understatement. Not great is soft.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever was very good. Shang-Chi was great.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, I didn't hate the Marvels. I didn't hate Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, but those are...
but you didn't love it.
Are
you going to love it or list it?
I would list the Marvels.
Okay.
And I keep Quantumania. But
Okay.
the thing about Quantumania, though, is it was setting up a whole story arc that has now been thrown out the window.
Because somebody can't be asshole free.
Yeah. So the same day that Deadpool and Wolverine came out, Comic-Con happening in San Diego, which is the Comic-Con.
The Comic-Con. Which is always that's like, oh, Comic-Con? No. The Comic-Con.
Yeah, if something advertises itself like you have the Boston Comic-Con, no.
My hometown had a Comic-Con, okay?
No, there's only one
Plastic City Comic-Con.
There's only one Comic-Con, and it's in San Diego.
Yep.
So
which is a whale's vagina.
So first, the Russo brothers come on stage. And I think this was known, but to see them on stage to announce that they were helming the next two Avengers films, because on deck we've got the next Captain America. That's coming out next year. Marvel, credit to them, realizing that the market has been oversaturated. And I believe Deadpool and Wolverine is it until Captain America. I want to call it New World Order, but they changed it. I think it's Brave New World now.
Okay.
Featuring
New World Order.
Featuring Harrison Ford taking over for William Hurt as Thunderbolt.
Wow. Harrison Ford's in his 80s, right? Like, are you sure that's the best call? Like, are you trying to build like a decades-long franchise? Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're just going to bank on any actor who's like over the age of 70.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm not doubting the call. I'm just doubting life expectancies.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. You think about like William Hurt was pushing 60 in The Incredible Hulk in his first appearance.
True.
And he performed that role all the way pretty much up until he died. So, and he was 73, I believe, when he died, 72. So, but yeah, Harrison Ford in his 80s. But I do love in the Captain America trailer the quip he makes where he says, it's something along the lines of like, I either lose the mustache or I lose the election. But yeah, I do like the when they make the little subtle quips in response to the recasting that has to be done for a major minor character.
I mean, if I feel like there's going to be at least a couple of like Han Solo like drop-ins right there.
That's not how the Force works.
Or I was like, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
That's where it can fit. Technically, it can fit in. It's not like may the Force be with you. Like what? No. It's like give me something subtle, but I feel it's going to be there. They're going to do something like that. Everybody's going to cheer because they love Harrison Ford, even though he's a curmudgeon.
Well, it was it is Disney, so it is. Possible.
It is. It's all the same universe, right?
Yep. So Russo brothers announcing the next two Avengers films coming out next year and then the year after. The first one, Doomsday, previously known as the Kang Dynasty. That is.
Oh, what happened to the Kang Dynasty?
Well, Kang actor Jonathan Majors decided that beating women was a more lucrative career move.
And was it?
I'm going to say no, not so much.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to double check. I just wanted to know what the going rate, what the market was feeling.
Imagine just having all that lined up. Like
you done goofed.
being set for the next like 5 years. What a fucking fool.
Yep. You had how much lined up in front of you?
And quite honestly, as Kang and as He Who Remains and any other variant of Kang that we've seen up to this point.
As long as it wasn't Kodos, right?
As long as it wasn't Kodos, his sister.
Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
Honestly, I didn't think he was that good of an actor. I didn't think he was that good. I had no interest in Kang. I didn't care about Kang. It wasn't like Thanos. It just wasn't resonating with me. Now, if the High Evolutionary had become the main MCU villain from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, then bring it on, because that actor whose name I cannot pronounce was...
Pronounce it. Try it.
Chukwudi Iwuji.
Oh my God. One more time.
Chukwudi Iwuji.
Okay. All right. You know what? We're just going to go with it. Chukwudi Iwuji.
Chukwudi Iwuji.
I was close. Thank you,
Okay,
Wikipedia. All right. I was close. I like how they do that.
Chukwudi Iwuji.
Him as the High Evolutionary, he was frightening. That is the he has a great line in that movie. God wasn't around, so I stepped in. Oh.
I mean, that is a baller line right there.
I will never watch that movie again, by the way. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I was an emotional wreck during that movie.
Really?
Anytime they showed Rocket Raccoon and his backstory.
Oh, yeah, that is yeah.
Yeah. That was, I'm just like, this is my number 2. Nothing will ever be Ant-Man, but Guardians Volume 3 has now taken my number 2 spot, my top 5 MCU films, and I will never watch it again. unless I just want to be clinically depressed afterwards for several days.
Can we get one of our listeners to do a supercut just of Rocket Raccoon's scenes just to make him cry?
No, don't do it.
Do it.
Meanwhile, I had to help Becky escort a spider off the premises earlier today because that's what we do. We save the bugs. We save the arachnids.
Saved it? Oh, wow.
And like she was like full blown trying to get the thing onto a shovel. Like,
where was it?
It was it had made a web between the wall and the jug of windshield wiper fluid.
In the garage?
That I needed. Yeah, and it was a big motherfucker. Like one of those fat
if it's
black
in the garage,
spiders.
leave it in the garage. Why?
I picked the thing up and saw the thing dangling and was getting ready to
Scoosh it?
Yeah. And she said, no, you got to save it. And it fell to the ground and scurried outside. And then she was on a mission. She was determined to make sure that spider was safely escorted either into the woods or into the grass somewhere. Like she went out of her way to make sure that spider was safe.
Granted, the only thing I make sure to save are my my basement centipedes.
Yep. Look,
because those guys are fucking baller.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever killed or evicted one that I've seen. I think I've only seen 1 or 2 maybe in my basement, but I've left them there. Spiders.
Yeah, we were gonna kill them all, but then I read, oh, they kill everything else, including the spiders. I'm like, oh, in that case, you guys can stay.
Yeah, the spiders, I don't care as long as you're not in my space.
If they're in the basement, I won't kill them. If they're up in here, I'll hear Sarah at some point scream, and I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy, I'm gonna have to kill you first. I'm sorry.
Nope. Now we capture them, we do the glass and envelope trick, and we send them outside.
Unless they're big enough for me to handle in my hand, then they're just getting scooshed.
Yep.
Meaning I don't want to live in Australia.
Oh my dude. I don't know how they do it. We gotta talk to Shy Guy. I haven't talked to Shy Guy in a while. Let's see if he's his missus has any experience with that.
Oh, the huntsman spiders?
Yeah, because she's from Australia.
Mm.
But okay, so the Russo brothers are on stage. They announced Doomsday, confirming that the what was previously the King Dynasty, then Avengers 5, now has a new title. They also confirmed that Secret Wars continues to exist, which I have been hoping for since, like Iron Man 2. Like learning that, okay, we're doing a whole franchise of Marvel characters. Can we please do Secret Wars? And then realizing, oh no, we can't because Fox owns X-Men and Sony owns Spider-Man and Fantastic Four is up in the air. So no, we're not going to be able to get all these properties together. Well, guess what? Disney owns all of them now.
There you go.
I'm finally getting my Secret Wars movie. So the villain, the main villain in not only Fantastic Four, but also Secret Wars is Dr. Victor Von Doom. And it was revealed at Comic-Con that he will be played by Robert Downey Jr.
And that's causing a bit of a stir.
It is. It's a surprise and it's not. It's a surprise because he was so adamant that he was done with the MCU. Obviously, Iron Man, he's never playing Iron Man again.
What?
And he, people are talking about, oh, could he possibly return to the MCU? And he was very open about not wanting to return.
And I think he was saying that, I mean, obviously in a general sense, but more specifically, I don't want you to resurrect Iron Man, and I don't want to be like a variant of Iron Man forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Like, if I'm dead, I'm dead.
Yeah.
If he dies, he dies.
So, like, we're getting to a point now where the pool of fantastic actors and actresses that you can pick out of to play characters in the MCU, there's always the possibility that you're going to have to maybe double dip. And now that we are doing the multiverse thing, it's entirely possible for, an actor who played a character in one film to show up playing another character in another film, just falling back on the multiverse, falling back on the TVA. So I would imagine, unless we never see his face and it's just his voice, then I imagine that's how they are going to incorporate RDJ as Dr. Doom. However, I wouldn't be shocked at all if it's eventually confirmed that this was a Hail Mary move to save the MCU at this juncture, since we've had more misses than hits post Endgame.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like, you need, like, not only having him, but having the Russo brothers directing too, because they hit it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Taking Infinity War and Endgame and obviously knocking it out of the park with both of those. Remember when Joss Whedon was the Golden Boy?
Oh my God. And now you look at his stuff and you're like, ugh. It's so derivative.
You look at him and go, ugh.
Yeah.
No one wants to work with him anymore. And then he tried to jump to DC. And then James Gunn said, hey, I can do that too, but better. And also, I'm not a piece of garbage.
I apologize for the shit I did. Thank you.
So the Russo brothers are receiving $80 million in total to direct these two upcoming Avengers films, while RDJ is receiving, quote, significantly more.
Wow. And I wonder if it's one of those, like, he's getting $10 million, but his contract says he's getting 5% of the overall profits or some crazy, like, he's actually not getting paid a lot, but they know if it grosses more than $1 billion, which it will, he's going to be getting like 100 mil.
Yeah. Oh, he will be richer than Elon Musk.
I hope so.
At the end of the day.
Can he buy and fix Twitter?
Yeah. Oh my God. Could he? Could he please? Man, there was a time that we thought you would never see him in anything ever again. What a comeback story.
I was going to say, like, that was the Iron Man was the change, right?
It was.
And that was his first role. And that was 2008. I was going to say 9, but I was like, that's wrong. It's 8.
Yeah. But it was sort of like the precipice of his like renaissance, because then we had Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. People were like, oh my God, Tropic Thunder. Such an criminally underrated film. And he honestly, if Heath Ledger didn't die, he would have gotten an Oscar for that role. And he fucking should have, because it's so goddamn hard to win an Oscar for Best Actor in a comedy movie. But I'm just, bitter.
But if you play a role so good that the role kills you, then I think you're also deserving of the Oscar.
I know. Yeah. Whatever.
So that's yeah, he would be smart to take a cut of the profits.
Oh yeah. Like how many? What was it? I think it was like Tom Cruise did that one. His last Mission Impossible. He got a upfront $1 million, and he wanted like 7% on the back end, and he ended up making like $65 million. And there's no way on God's green earth they would pay him $65 million up front to make a movie, even though they know it's going to make money.
Right.
Yeah, it's just
Or even doing his own stunts too, hanging off the side of the plane.
Yeah, still to this day, like, dude. Okay, you're not Jackie Chan. All right, calm down. Calm down.
He's carrying it outside of the Mission Impossible franchise too. He did it in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, yeah, hanging off the side of a fucking plane.
Yeah. RDJ claims he would only return to the MCU if the Russo brothers were directing. So that was,
how convenient.
That was one stipulation. So, yeah, my predictions, it will come out that he was the Hail Mary, and we're putting all of our eggs in his basket with next.
Now, is he actually going to be Victor Von Doom, like original storyline, or I've heard people say that it's like he's a corrupted Iron Man that somehow is, like alternate, multiverse theory of something like that. Have you heard, or anything like that?
Haven't heard anything about that, but that wouldn't shock me in the least.
Okay. I know you're doing like, hey, it's the same guy that did Iron Man, but like, I would like to not have it be just Iron Man version, multiverse 821, like just say, hey, it just looks the same, or something, just don't even acknowledge it. Just, it is what it is.
Now, the first installment of Phase 6 of the MCU will be the Fantastic Four, which is now known as...
What were the movies in Phase 5?
So that's what's going...
Phase 4 ended with Endgame, right?
Yes, and that was the... they call that the Infinity Saga.
Okay, so basically what I'm going to say is that Phase 5 is like the weakest phase.
So that was actually Phase 3.
Phase 3?
Yeah.
So what's Phase 4?
Phase 3 was stacked because they're also incorporating all of the television shows as well that came out during the pandemic. So Phase 3 was Civil War through not just Endgame, but Far From Home. Because Spider-Man Far From Home dealt with the immediate aftermath of Endgame. Phase 4 began with Black Widow and ended with Wakanda Forever.
Okay, and when did Phase 5 start then?
Phase 5 began with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and it will conclude with next year's Thunderbolts.
Okay, so obviously I don't know about Thunderbolts, but I stick by my words. Phase 5, weakest phase so far.
Yeah. Phase 5, I think, was more bolstered by Phase 5, the weakest. Phase 4, bolstered by the television shows. But even now...
Some of the television shows.
Now that... Well, Phase 4 was... Okay, you gotta watch like all of the Falcon in Winter Soldier to know what's going to happen in the next Captain America movie. Or you had to watch all of WandaVision to know what was going to happen in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It became this required viewing that we shouldn't have had to do. And now even Kevin Feige realized this and saying, all right, we're going to scale back the production on the television shows because we're oversaturating the market.
Yes.
Thunderbolts will be... I know it's got some of the Black Widows in it, like David Harbour and Florence Pugh, John Walker, aka U.S. Agent from Falcon and Winter Soldier, who's played by Wyatt Russell, who my dumbass didn't realize is Kurt Russell's son until I saw them side by side on Late Night with Seth Meyers. I'm like,
and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no shit. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And I liked him. I liked his character as U.S. Agent, aka the original replacement for Steve Rogers as Captain America. So now Thunderbolts, and what I'm intrigued by Thunderbolts is that the title has an asterisk in it, and they never clarified what that means.
Interesting.
So yeah, Phase 6 will include the 2 Avengers films. So actually, Doomsday is coming out in 26. I thought it was next year. Next year is Fantastic Four: First Steps,
which we finally have. The fingers crossed right there is. Are we finally going to have a Fantastic Four that people are going to accept? Maybe is the right word for it. Is that the right word?
It's putting it lightly.
I mean, I don't want to say love because that's too high of a bar. Like, is accept is I don't want to say resign themselves to the no, because that's not good enough. Like, it needs to be better than Captain America's Fantastic Four.
So I know people are like, yeah, the 2005 Fantastic Four and then Rise of the Silver Surfer, like, okay, whatever. You know, they were mediocre at best. Fantastic soundtracks, no pun intended, but mediocre at best. We don't talk about the 2015 Fantastic Four. That doesn't exist.
That's like a Rocky fan talking about Rocky 5. You just don't do it. Nope. Not happening. Not happening. Not doing it.
You don't talk about Superman 4.
No.
I am a little over Pedro Pascal.
I think only because people are like, he's so good, we can rely on him. And I think that's why you might be getting over him. You're like, I don't want to have to watch a movie or a show where they're picking him because they're relying on him and not everything else.
Right. It's like,
I think it's trepidation that you've got right there.
It's like, of course he's going to be in this. Like, he's in everything.
Yeah. Is he going to wear a mask and not take it off?
Is he going to have the mustache? Of course he's going to have the mustache.
Oh, yeah.
I was really
delicately eat a sandwich.
God, I was really hoping it'd be Krasinski and Emily Blunt. Oh.
You never know. They could make a cameo in the multiverse, you know?
I mean, we kind of got that already.
Right? It's possible.
We kind of got that already in Doctor Strange, so.
Yep.
However,
I mean, John Krasinski has already appeared in multiple films in the MCU anyway.
Oh, that's right. Especially in WandaVision.
Right.
Real G's know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I am actually excited for Ebon Moss-Bachrach playing the Thing because he's phenomenal on The Bear. Like, he's like the breakout star on The Bear, even though I think he was on Girls on HBO, but now
has he been anything more mainstream for those that haven't watched those?
That's a good question. I don't know because I had no idea who he was until The Bear.
Okay.
I saw The Bear.
I have no idea. Okay.
I just remember there was a famous scene on Girls where former NBC nightly news host Brian Williams, his daughter was a character on that show, and she was getting let's just say pleasured from behind by Ebon Moss-Bachrach. And I found that out after the fact, and now every time I see him on The Bear, all I can think of is him just muff diving.
Is he related to Burt Bacharach?
Ladies and gentlemen. God damn it, Mike.
What the world needs now.
You're a son of a bitch because I didn't have that queued up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Burt Bacharach.
And just for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Burt Bacharach and Mr. Elvis Costello.
All right. John Malkovich, Natasha Lyonne, Paul Walter Hauser, and Julia Garner are all going to be in Fantastic Four: First Steps. And it's also going to be set in the 1960s, which explains why the teaser poster had a very retro, futuristic feel to it.
Okay.
But we are going to, that is going to be the setup for Avengers Doomsday.
Well, I am cautious. I'm not going to say cautiously optimistic. I'm cautious about this.
Correct. Also,
I'm not putting any expectations on things. I'm just going to, go into it and see what's going to happen.
Yep. Same.
I kind of like how I went into the original Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, I have no idea what this is going to be about. I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad, but let's just go into it.
And holy shit.
Great. Turned out to be great. I'm like, all right, these random fucking characters I had no connection to, I love.
Yep.
And now I'm like, all right, maybe we can do it again with the Fantastic Five.
Now we can do it with obscure characters that no one's ever heard of, like Ant-Man.
And Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, he got his retribution. Even if he was played by stupid Seth Green. The surprise announcement at San Diego Comic-Con that RDJ was returning to the MCU was met with a reaction similar to any theater witnessing the Avengers return during the blip at the end of Endgame.
Oh, that was... I still get kind of goosebumps when I pull it up on YouTube and just watch with the sound all the way up.
Oh.
With it's got to be a good quality recording. There's a lot of shitty like camera recordings that just aren't good enough. But like getting a good quality one and you can hear the movie and the crowd at the same time. Oh, chef's kiss.
I was already in a emotionally devastated state because of Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that scene happened, that was like, nothing's ever going to top this moment. Nothing is, this is it. This is the note we go out on. And I was kind of right because then the pandemic happened like 6 months later. And everything shut down.
And we're done.
But that's...
What about, no, and we're done.
Yeah. And I haven't watched Endgame since I saw it in the theater. Because I just like...
I had watched Endgame after it came out on demand. I don't recommend watching Endgame while holding your infant daughter.
She wasn't into it?
Huh?
She wasn't into it?
Oh no. She was sleeping. The fact that when you're watching like I Love You 5000 and he's talking to his daughter and you're holding your infant daughter at the same time. Oh yeah. oh yeah. Like, oh, I was not thinking about that right now. And now it's all I'm thinking about. Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yep.
Yeah. The crowd reaction was great. Cause he's also if you haven't seen the video, RDJ comes out and he does the same pose that he does in the first Ant-Man when like he's standing out in the desert and everything just explodes around him.
The Jesus pose.
The Jesus pose. Yep. I agree with you. I'm cautious, but I've seen almost every MCU film in the theater. The only ones I haven't seen, the first Thor, Black Widow, which I was saying for years, like after the first Avengers, they need to do a Black Widow film, and they finally did it. And I think just because like it went straight on demand because of necessity, I just didn't like, for some reason I didn't see it. And then I missed the Eternals, which I think I think a lot of people are like pretending the Eternals never happened.
Yeah, I think so because it's not a bad movie at all. It just didn't seem to fit.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's a kind of like a prequel to everything, right?
It's. I wouldn't call it a prequel necessarily. I mean, yes, there's definitely a lot of prequelness to it, but it goes up into, current day, and so it's just like, it's just a little divot.
Okay.
On the road, it's there. You can enjoy it if you want, but like it's not required. It's a nice stop, but it doesn't necessarily need to, it's not going to fill you up.
Despite its stacked cast.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think that's it. I remember being very excited to see Shang-Chi just because I got to go to a movie theater and see a movie with people.
What is this? A theater of movies?
That was my second
movie.
That was my second time in the theater after things started to open up.
Oh, okay.
First was a Quiet Place Part 2. I got to see the day one. I still haven't seen it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and 28 years later, his rap production.
Is there a release date for it?
I believe it's sometime next year. So we're close. Yeah. We are so close. Like I can't believe it's actually happening. Twisters is out. I've seen Twisters. I love Twisters. I need to see it again.
I'm trying to see it. It's tough.
Well,
bring the kids to it yet.
If you figure out time to go, I'll go with you. I want to see it again.
All right.
I need to let's see how many times I see the original Twisters. 600 times. All right, this will be showing 2 of Twisters. All right.
Okay.
June 20th, 2025 for 28 years later.
Okay.
So
and not that it's a movie, but Silo season 2 officially announced that it's dropping November 15th.
Okay, nice.
They were worried it was going to drop in 2025. And was it Rebecca Ferguson was like, guys, this is fucking amazing. And the author was like, yeah, I watched it. She's right. And when an author of the author of the books, before the series, like when the author gives the thumbs up, the double thumbs up, you're like, okay. So if you guys can't wait for the next season of Fallout, go binge on Apple TV, Silo season 1, and then wait for Silo season 2.
Nice.
I'm just saying.
When did the first season of Silo come out?
I think it came out 22.
Okay.
Because I think it was. I think it's 22 because it was like this during COVID kind of this amorphous timeline. So,
are you off-put at all by the shows like Severance and Euphoria that have several years between their seasons?
I am very annoyed at a show that takes that long to put a second season together. Like I understand production's longer, but like, come on, man. Like, I'm like waiting decades at this point to see an entire series. Like, come on,
right?
The fuck out of here. And the other thing too, like, it's not only that, it's that, and then you go like, here's our 8 episodes. Like, fuck you, 8 episodes. 2.5 year gap, and you give me 8 fucking episodes. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Especially like Euphoria, it's not like it's this CG laden, like we needed to spend millions of dollars for fucking Dragon's balls, like come on.
No, they had to.
I don't mean Dragon Balls. I mean Dragon's testicles.
They had to somehow come up with the money to be able to afford Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney and Jacob Elordi, because they were probably somewhat affordable 5 years ago.
Yeah, they're like, we should have done a multi-season contract and we didn't.
Sucks to suck.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mike, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It was good to bring in the 650th episode of this podcast. There was a time where we celebrated every 50 episodes like they were milestones, like giant milestones. And like we still do, but at the same time, I think this is the first time in the history of the show when I looked at the episode number and said, huh. We're at 650. Okay.
All right, then.
We made it. I guess I'll check back in 50 episodes when we're at 700. Maybe we'll do.
You don't accidentally miss it and go, oh, that was last episode? Shit.
I actually had a dream about that recently where like we accidentally did like 2 episode 648s or something like that. It's happened before. Or we've skipped a number. I do remember one time we skipped over an episode. So then the subsequent episode was like the number that was supposed to precede it. And we just like had to go out of order for a few weeks to catch back up. Because I'm very good at counting, you see.
He's very good at counting, not good at pronunciation.
No, I was a fucking mess this episode. More so than usual. All right. For the rest of you, thank you for listening. Go see Deadpool and Wolverine so you don't get it spoiled for yourself. We'll talk at you next time. Thank you for listening. See ya. Bye.
Goodbye.
Amortization may not have happened.
This has been a presentation of the Solid Listen Podcast Network.